if you want to become a copywriter, one of the first things you need to get your head around is what is the difference between a copywriter and a content writer. Hi, I'm Les Blythe from Freelancing Future FYF 101. And in this video, we'll look at the difference between a copywriter on the one hand and a content writer on the other hand. And you know, when I first started as a writer online, I was actually confused about the difference between the two. And I still find that people don't quite know, the difference between what a copywriter does and what a content writer does. Okay, let's start with a quick definition of content so we can understand what content is as opposed to copy and what a copywriter does. So content can be anything on a website, for example, like the home page. It can be website content, it can be the home page, it can be the about page, anything of that nature. Also the blog posts, that can be classed as content as opposed to copy. So content is basically anything on a website or anything that subtly tells the reader about a business or what the business does and provides them with useful information about that business. That could be considered as copy. As content rather than copy. Now, I'm not going to give you long, complicated explanations. I'm going to cut right to the chase on this and tell you exactly the difference, so you know right away. And I want to accelerate you through this stuff. We don't want to spend a lot of time on this. So now let's go to copy and what does a copywriter do? The best way to think of this is that a copywriter tries to convince the reader to make a decision. So they have a very set formula in terms of how you write. So for example, a copywriter could be selling a product. Let's say it's a health product, it could be a diet product, it could be cryptocurrency, it can be anything. But the whole point of copy is that it leads the reader in a particular direction with a view to making them take an action. And very often that action is selling something. So for example, the kind of structure, I won't give you a detailed structure at this point, I'll do that in another video. But to give you an idea of a structure might be something like understanding the persona of the person you're writing for, and that's critically important that you understand when copywriting the persona of who you're writing for. And what that means is you need to know who is going to be reading your copy. That's absolutely critical, so you can write the copy in such a way that it appeals to that reader. So for example, let's say we're writing a piece of copy that relates to a software product, let's say software as a service, just as an example. You need to understand who you're writing for. You need to understand their wants, desires and needs. In other words, why would they want that software? And then you can write the copy in a particular format. A kind of standard format for writing copy might be starting with a problem. That's usually a good place to start. So if you're running a business and let's say, for example, you've got all different softwares that you use in your business, and the product you're writing the copy for, the software product, is something that does sort of 5 things in one. Rather than you needing 5 different pieces of software, you've got a software product that does everything in the one place. So you would start with the problem. The problem would be the fact that you're needing 5 pieces of software to run your business. Whereas on the other hand, you can have one piece that will do everything that those 5 pieces of software do. So you would start with the problem. Talk about the problem. Now the next thing you might do is to escalate that problem. If you're using 5 pieces of software, how much time is that taking up? How much time are you wasting that you could be putting to better use elsewhere in your business? So that's the problem. Then what you would do is you would escalate that problem and make the problem sound really time consuming and difficult. Then obviously as you're writing this, you're leading your reader down a certain path because you know their persona, you know what interests them, you know the issues they've got. Then obviously what you would do next is you would present your software solution as a solution to their product. Then you would tell them about the benefits of the solution you're offering and obviously entice them to buy, and there's certain ways of doing that. I won't go into the full method of writing copy here. I'm just trying to give you an idea of how you might do that. Now, if you compare that, what a copywriter does, and compare that to a content writer, essentially a content writer wouldn't be quite as blatant as that. They wouldn't be in your face trying to sell you that product in such a way. It would be a little bit more subtle than that. So, you know, a content writer might typically be the writer who's engaged in a content strategy. So you're subtly letting your prospects know about your product over a period of time to the point where you can subtly close them for a sale. And a lot of writing content, a lot of writing content depends on where your potential buyer is in the buying cycle. So for example, right at the start, they may never have heard of your product. They might not even know what they're looking for, but they see a piece of copy that gives them useful information, and they begin to form an opinion of the type of product they can buy and perhaps why your product might be the right thing for them. Then it's a question of leading them through a process to the point where you actually eventually do ask for the sale and you close them down. But it's a much more subtle process than writing a piece of copy, which might be, you know, a sales page which is specifically designed to sell someone a product or make them take an action. The action might be to sign up for an email list, but whatever piece of copy you're writing, as opposed to content, you're trying to make someone take a very specific action. Okay, so that's essentially the difference between a copywriter who's trying to get the reader to take an action, and a content writer perhaps writing web copy, which is telling the reader about a product and, you know, feeding in the right message at the correct point in their buying decision. They may not be ready to buy yet, so you don't want to close hard for the sale. You want to, you know, over a period of time, provide useful content which is going to inform them and educate them about your product, so that eventually, when they're at the right place in the buying cycle, they'll naturally buy your product. So that's the difference between the two. Now, I'm often asked, you know, what should I write? Look, you can write copy, you can write sales copy, or you can write content. Both of them can be equally lucrative, to be quite honest with you. But I would always say, if you're just learning, get yourself a decent copywriting course. And the reason I say get a copywriting course is that learning to write copy gets you more into the psychology of potential buyers, and it gives you a good structure to think about how your prospect is thinking. In terms of, you know, what they're thinking about the product, and what can you do to lead them to make a buying decision, even though that decision might be just to leave their email address, you know, to sign up for a free giveaway like a PDF or something of that nature. But learning to write copy as opposed to content really gets your mind thinking about, you know, what your prospect is thinking. It gets you on the right wavelength of how to lead them through a process to eventually make some kind of decision. You know, once you've learned copy, you can write copy or content, but I would recommend learning how to write copy first, because it's giving you a very set process of about how the prospect is thinking. So that would be my recommendation on that. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's the difference between a copywriter, which is, you know, sales copywriting, taking a prospect to directly make a decision, or content, which is a more subtle process over a period of time, more informative, and, you know, filling the prospect in over time about your product. Guys, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe and hit the bell notification so I can get in touch with more videos to help you learn how to become a copywriter in the future. Also, you know, I do appreciate your support, because when you support me, it helps me to keep making more free videos like this to help you guys. Now, what I've done for you as well is I've given you a couple of free bonuses. If you look below this video or in the comments, you'll find a link to some free bonuses I've put together as a thank you for watching to the end of the video, if you made it this far. Okay guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. It's the latest video in my series of how to become a copywriter. Hope it helps, and I'll be making more stuff like this for you in the very near future. So remember, hit the bell notification. I'll be in touch with future videos. That's it guys. Ciao for now. Bye bye.